Many of you know that we talk about the concept of layering of cases. What that means is that you should never do a difficult case first. Because a difficult case is made up of so many different difficult components like communication, the underlying concept in the case, the use of data, and so on. If you fail a case, it's very hard to pinpoint the reason why you failed. So we always say start with very simple cases whereby there's only one or two reasons why you could have failed. Once you fail, pinpoint the reason, fix it, and then move on to more and more complex cases, right? It's a very clever technique in which you need to prepare yourself for cases. It's like an Olympic athlete, right? When you start training in the morning, you don't do the most difficult things. You got to warm up first, simple exercise, then do progressively more and more complex exercises. You'll actually hurt your body if you just start with the most complex exercise. The same with, when you're doing mental exercise as well. You start off with simpler things and then you work your way into it. And one of the simpler cases we start with is a basic profitability case. It could be any variation, such as, a restaurant is losing money, they need your help, to something like a Philharmonic Orchestra has seen a steep drop in profitability, they need your help. And we always ask candidates, tell us how you'd structure this. And everyone is so proud of the fact that they tell us, well, we can either increase revenue or we can reduce costs, which I'm getting a little bit tired of. And when I point out to candidates, I'd actually fail you for saying that, a lot of people are surprised. And I think all candidates who do this case with us fail it for this reason, right? In the real world, if you increase your profitability by cutting costs, you will destroy the company. You cannot diet your way to success, right? The three options here is obviously increase revenue, reduce costs, or increase the rate of revenue at a faster rate than the increase in costs, which actually is the way most companies grow. If you look at any company in the world that is trying to grow, right, what that company has to do is it's got to invest money, costs, in building its asset structure or its sales capability or whatever it is, right? But it then has to hope that the amount of revenue it generates from the costs incurred to build out its infrastructure is more than the amount put into that infrastructure. And to be fair, that is the only way a company is going to grow. No company is going to grow by cutting its cost base and revenue dramatically increasing. It's called the rate of return principle, right? The less you put in, the less you'll get out, right? So think about it this way, right? Imagine a company trying to grow $1 billion of revenue and cutting its costs. It's never going to grow. Imagine a company putting in $1 million of revenue and trying to get $1 billion out after 1 year. That is it's not even 1,000%. You can do the math, right? It's 1,000 times more that they're trying to get out of it. So when candidates do profitability cases, I see them making the same mistakes and continuously failing it. Profitability cases are not as easy as you think it is. It's not just a question of increasing revenue or cutting costs. The correct answer is increasing costs, but making sure that the returns you generate from those costs, which the returns being your revenue, exceed the rate at which you increase your costs. And I am always shocked when candidates are so proud of themselves that they can handle profitability case, and they give me this absolutely ludicrous way to handle it, which shows no business judgment and demonstrates the fact that they know nothing about business. And the most shocking thing about this is that I get a lot of MBA students telling me these same things. I can either, cut costs or increase revenue. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And if I was actually doing interviews, I'd probably fail candidates for this because it shows an utter lack of business judgment. So the point is, don't make this mistake when you're doing profitability cases. It's a very simple thing, but everyone does it, and I see all casebooks teaching it. It's actually stupid. No company in the world wants to hire a CEO who's going to cut costs to eternity and expect revenue to grow. That's just stupid. You will shrink yourself and you end up looking like a supermodel that no one wants to date after a few years. Companies need to get fat, right? But they've got to build muscle when they get fat, not little jiggly arms.